Hey guys, thank you. I've stuffed the intro up already. We're off to a cracker. I was going to say thanks for joining us, but it just mumbled out. It's because we are earlier. We're going live at 6:30.
I'm the mumbler normally.
I know. We're going 6:30 a.m. now because I've got the kids this weekend, so I can time it whilst they're still in bed up until Monday because we have to shuffle this show around my schedule. We all know that. I'm obviously joined by four-time national road champion Johnny Trevaro and Sam Bewley, who rides for Team BikeExchange Jayco. Now, Johnny, breaking news, you've got 48 hours in the hole, mate.
Yes, they were scared. I had a bit of COVID, a bit of a headache, probably a couple of too many glasses of red wine. But anyway, no, I first up, I said, look, I don't feel 100%. Look, very nervous, but fair enough. I can understand why everyone's nervous. They're really, BikeExchange, I would say, is doing the whole bubble thing so correctly, where some of the other teams don't. But they really, go back 2 years, the whole team got thrown out of the Giro because of COVID. So, of course, they're nervous. They want to win this damn bike race. 2 years ago, Simon had the form of his life and probably could have gone close to winning this, and they certainly were out. So they're nervous. So because of that, I've been handballed. So I'm in front of the race, and I probably saw more of the race today than I've ever seen because I watched the whole thing on telly. Watched them go past our hotel about 14K to go.
Yeah, good. I like how you sent through a video. This is classic Bills. Like if he just needed content, and he's thinking, "Oh, what can I do?" So he sent through on the side of the road
with a mask on.
With a mask on, commentating. Yeah, guys, 14K to go. There's a hotel. We're near the water, and there's the car. Anyway,
I was hoping you wouldn't show this. I said to fans, don't send this. He sent it.
I don't know if this is going to get a run on SBS, Iffy.
I didn't send it to SBS, and I told him not to send it to you. I think I said Robbie was going to win. I meant Caleb.
Yeah, Robbie. Anyway, you had a crack. But the protocols before we get into the stage, Bills, they have changed dramatically because, back in my day, I'd be making those classic rice and tuna dishes, and the big hygiene questions was what he would say after I'd dished them up. Do you wash your hands, Dan? And I'd pause for a second. I'd be like, yes. Those days are done, mate.
They're done. There's not really any protocols now really from the UCI. I mean, I think if you have a stage race over 7 days, so the Giro as an example, you need to have a PCR test. And I think they probably do PCR tests throughout the race. Maybe if you can confirm that, I don't know. But other than that, it's just a rapid test, I think, before you go to a stage race or a one-day race. That's the UCI protocol. Our team is different. Our team is obviously, we got hit pretty hard with COVID in January and February and March. And we had big shuffling amongst in the program and amongst the race schedule. So our team is, they're not taking any chances, which is great. So we still do a lot of PCR testing for most races. We try to keep the bubble as tight as possible. So we still kind of, the masks are still important. Negative test before you enter the bubble. Once you enter the bubble, we don't want to extend the bubble past the designated riders, staff, or support crew. It's still pretty strict, and fair enough because you can only do so much to escape this bloody thing. It's with us now, but you can. It's the right thing to do. Take all the precautions, and then if something happens, and you've taken all the precautions. You go, well, shit, we did everything we could.
Yeah, but even
that's exactly why I told them I had a headache because I just wanted to be 100% sure.
But you just have a headache. You sounded nasally, but even if it's not COVID, even if you've got like a bug or you got anything that could impact performance, they just can't take any risks, as you said.
Exactly.
No.
Yep.
Now, with the stage itself, I tried to get Alan Davis on because it was a nail-biting photo finish between Arnaud Démare and Caleb Ewan. And we are talking millimeters. Like you look at that photo.
As close as I've seen, it's as close to a dead heat as you could have. Matter of fact, I don't know how they picked it. That those longer arms of Démare, his throw just got in there. But even that,
look at that.
I don't know. That is close. That,
as
how do you
said,
pick that one? Wheels?
Come down to bike throw.
Do you know what's crazy? It's like you think, oh, that's like a 1 in 1,000 finish, but it's happened 3 times in the last 12 months. Like Amstel last year, Amstel this year, and now this stage in the Giro. It's actually happening quite frequently, which is I don't know.
Amstel last year
why,
they got wrong. They got it wrong last year too, because Pitcock actually won that one. But anyway, this one, if they had called it a dead heat, I don't think anyone would have complained about that. It's hard to pick it. But anyway, it was a bloody good throw of Démare. Hey, what did you think of Gaviria? What was he trying to do? Did you see him on the outside? If you had a good look at it? Yeah, I know. He tried to go back. He tried to go between. I mean, the DSM couple, they completely stuffed it up. You know, he had Vol and Danese. They've stuffed up their own thing, but then Gaviria, who was obviously still pissed off from the day before, we had to sprint on the 14 evidently, because something was wrong with his gears, his Colnago, and so he was really. And he was moving. It was anyway. Got relegated to the last place. Evidently, Robbie McEwen bagged the hell out of him.
But why didn't he just stay where he was and just follow those guys in front of him? Because they were the ones who ran
pissed off.
Like if he stayed where he was,
exactly,
he actually had a pretty good run.
He would have had a fantastic run. He might have won. He would have run a drum for sure. But I just think he wanted to go early. So you know what? So he jumped out into no man's land and. Got lost.
Well, it raises a good point because the stage before, I mean, everyone gets frustrated, Bill's in a bike race, but he said in Italian, it's a shit bike. And then after in the presser, he goes, look, I can't even comment on the bike because I'll get in trouble for that. It's like, mate, you already have. You already did at the finish. Like, there'd be reprimand for that because, okay, there's a lot of talk about equipment, even for BikeExchange this year, but you still got to tread that fine line with, you know, frustrations and understanding the game as well. It must be tough as a rider, particularly in cycling when, you know, there's a lot of adrenaline, there's a lot of emotion, but trying to keep that in check.
Well, there's a lot of things
tough
that need to stay internal, you know, and that's an example of one thing. You know, if anything's like you've seen, I don't know what an example is, but over the course of the last few years, there's always been something in the media about, you know, a rider complaining about the management or the management complaining about a rider. It's always blowing my mind why do they make that stuff public? Like that should be internal. Like if you have a problem, like I never have, but let's say in a different world, I had a problem with management. I would go to the management. I wouldn't go to the media, you know? So I don't know why they choose to make it public, but like you say, Jones, it's just frustration. He was just frustrated and it was off the top of his head in a heated moment.
Well, we're going to chat with Brent Copeland after the break, and there is a few things you want to throw out there. If there's going to be a lot of rider transfers coming up in the market. Cav, he's looking for a team next year. Carapaz.
He wants to get that Tour de France. Yeah, Carapaz. That's an interesting one. They've let Van Baal go. Van Baal's going to Jumbo.
Yeah, I think that happened before Roubaix, or there was certainly rumours about it before Roubaix. I'm sure he would have asked for more money after Roubaix, but anyway, he's going.
He was great in Roubaix, that's for sure. And of course, he won the Jayco Herald Sun Tour, so he's a superstar.
Yeah,
that's where he got his prize from.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. When I was talking to Alan Davis, I said, "Oh, mate, you're really stiff at the finish there," and he said, "Mate, it full on felt like someone had fly kicked me to the nuts." Like getting done in that photo. Now, Caleb's quote, I didn't get any videos, and obviously if he wasn't on the ground, obvious reasons. The team did what they had to do today and dropped me off perfectly. That way I could start my sprint when I wanted to. It looked very good, but in the end, I got beaten by an inch on the line. Of course, I'm really disappointed just to miss out on the stage victory, but we need to take away from today what could have gone our way as well. The shape and the team that is there, of course. and I'm keen on taking revenge. Now, how many more stages do you think Caleb's going to be at the Giro for? Because obviously he was never going to do the whole lot, not going to do the last week. How many opportunities do you think he's got, Iffy?
Not many. Actually, I have to get the book out to look at that one. There's only one in the next about 4 days. I mean, tomorrow is 4,000 metres of climbing. It's a monster of a day. So the sprinters won't be anywhere near that one. I think it's Naples in a couple of days. I can bring up a map. Hang on. Yeah, just give me a second. Naples in a couple of days is probably the next one. Then there's Blockhouse Mountain, then the rest day, and then there's a couple coming up in that. And that's as far as you'll go. Probably go after the rest day. There's another 2 opportunities pop up. All right. Well, I'll bring up the screen so you can talk about that. This is stage 7 that's coming up today. Then we've got stage 8's the chance. Yeah, it's sort of lumpy. Napoli. Yeah. Stage 9's filthy, as you'd expect, and then you got stage 10, and then stage 11 is pancake. Yeah, a couple of days, and then we go into, and I reckon that we'll just about see him go. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, the clock's ticking then, so we'll have to wait and see. Before we let you go, Bills, and go to the break, looking at stage number 7, who do you think is going to perform on this stage, mate?
Breakaway, I think, most likely. I mean, the way Ineos rode on Etna, who knows? They might try to do something again through that middle section there on that climb at 135k. It's a pretty tough climb, but they can still do that even with the breakaway out the road. But I think it's on paper it looks like a breakaway stage. 3 or 4 years ago you would have said Thomas de Ghent, but maybe not now. I don't know. Well, there's 2 de Ghents in there.
Well, I'm in the cycling tips tipping competition, so I need a red hot tip. I've got to claw my way back. I did have Démare today because you can only pick one rider per day, and I need to look like I know what I'm talking about. So give me a smoky, mate. Give me a smoky for breakaway, and I need them to win. There's no pressure.
I'll have to study the start list. I'll send you a message, and you can add it after the edit.
All right, mate. I'll take full credit if it lobs.
Caleb.
All right, mate. We'll just let that one slip. No worries. Well, anything you want to add, Iffy, for Bills before we go to a break? No. Thanks, Sammy, as always. And I agree. It'll be a breakaway. It'll be sort of a guy like Camner. It won't be him because he's up for the GC. They won't let him go again. But it'll be that type of really strong guy. Get out the break and then there'll be 2 bike races going on tomorrow. It'll be the GC guys having a bit of a battle, but the tougher climbs are a bit early, and I don't think the GC guys will. I'd be surprised if they really battle it out. But
Sobrero,
interesting.
Sobrero. No.
Yeah. Yep.
But bit too early for our team to be sending guys at the road. I think you probably want to keep them with Yatesy, especially someone like Matteo. But if this was in the third week, they
won't put anyone. They won't put anyone up the road tomorrow. They'll keep them all with Yatesy for sure.
I agree.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Bills. Love your work, mate. And remember,
see you later.
Social Distance Podcast next week. Brand new app dropping live on Tuesday. It's the #1 sports podcast in New Zealand, and that's because Sammy Bewley's at the helm. So make sure you tune in for that one. Good on you, Bills. Speak to you soon, mate.
See you later, guys.
Thanks, bud.
Good luck.
See you, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Easy. Sam Bewley, we're going to have a quick break, and when we come back, BikeExchange Jayco GM Brent Copeland. Stay tuned.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours. and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. BikeExchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Feel more in every moment. The all-new Lexus NX.
Fun fact, you can make cycling part of your next Let's Go adventure. With a bike, you can enjoy and explore even more places. So, feel the wind in your hair, book a bike, enjoy the outdoors and see more with a Let's Go motorhome today.
Thanks again to BikeExchange, Lexus of Blackburn, and Let's Go Motorhomes. Got to show plenty of love to our sponsors, Lexus of Blackburn.com.au. They're big supporters of the Bay Crits, and of course the Let's Go Motorhomes. If you're going to get a motorhome and travel around Australia, COVID restrictions have eased up dramatically. Let's Go Motorhomes.com.au. Let's bring in our next guest, Diffie. Brent Copeland joins us live. How are you, Brent?
Yeah, hi Dan. Very well, thanks yourselves.
Yeah, good mate, good. Now it feels
Yeah,
like
Brent.
a straight swap. Trevorrow out, Copeland in.
we change in roles, I think. That's how it's been.
Yeah.
I had an unfortunate start to the Giro with catching COVID in 2 weeks ago, and I could only come into the bubble after 10 days after testing positive, and then fortunately went negative at the beginning of the week. And then the medical staff said to me, there's no way you can come into the bubble until 10 days are over. So I've just come back to the Giro, and it's lovely to be here. And John's out and I'm in.
Well, you know it's serious when the staff are telling the GM,
He popped the bubble and I went out the other side.
Yeah. But
Well,
when
I
the
just had a
staff
little
say, listen,
headache,
mate, you
and
stick to the protocol,
I
that's
just
it.
said, I got a slight headache, and they said, any excuse, get rid of him, he's gone.
No, but as we're talking to Bewley, I mean, you've got to take those protocols serious because obviously, a couple of years ago, the team were decimated with COVID. But as we said, even if it's a slight virus or a sniffle or whatever that can impact performance, I mean, in the current climate, it must just add another layer of stress and something that the team have just got to be on top of, 100%.
Yeah, that's true, Dan. I think we got to look after that. We're doing our best because of the scare that we had 2 years ago, where the team unfortunately left the Giro, and it was it's something that's still fresh in the mind of everyone. And people today are still thinking, well, the virus is over, we're not going to get sick again. But as a professional athlete, it's an important virus to be taken serious, and we can't afford to have any of our athletes get ill. So we're doing everything that we can together with the medical staff to make sure that the protocols are respected 100%. So we don't have the same thing happen to us, which happened 2 years ago. Not that we weren't taking protocols serious 2 years ago, we were just unlucky. But I think, that's just part of the game that we're dealing with at the moment, and most of the team are used to it, and we just get through it day by day.
One thing that is probably the only variable in that bubble is, like, obviously soigneurs need to go to supermarkets, they need to buy, supplies every day. Are they having to sort of really mask up, gloves or whatever, hand wash when they do go out to the supermarkets and those sort of things?
Yeah, so we've designated 2 people that actually go out of the bubble to do that kind of work, and that's the support person for the chef, and he gets the supermarket and gets all the shopping done, and does all the grocery shopping. And besides that, we have the bubble really restricted and really closed up. And I think I would say that our team's been one of the most disciplined at the moment in the pro peloton. I've seen quite a few teams that are loose with it, but we got to be careful. We got to be careful because it's such an important appointment for us. it's a race that we've been putting a lot of energy, a lot of concentration on for this season. Simon is feeling good and he's doing a great job, and we've got to take care and make sure that everyone else does the same.
Ivy?
Well, I was just going to say, Brent, because we'll talk a little bit about Simon and a little scare the other day with his fall and what's coming up. I just thought Australians haven't had a chance to catch up with you. This is their first their chance with the Detour, of course. You know, one of Australia's biggest podcasts. I just would tell a little bit of a story about you, because I've Googled you and I saw my old mate Ed Hood at Pez you a few years back, because I was looking at your racing, because you were a handy cyclist, almost turned pro, but loved Italy and decided to stay. And then, of course, you're with Lamprey. Gee, that's going back a long while, about 15 years ago or so, back with Lamprey. So just tell us a little bit about that.
I came to Europe in 1994 with this dream of becoming a professional cyclist, and came over very green. I had no idea of what training was about, what nutrition was about. So I had a lot to learn, and it took me a good couple of years before I actually started to learn how cycling worked in a professional organization. And by the time I learned, it was too late, and unfortunately I wasn't able to turn professional. But I got the opportunity to stay on and work for teams, and I started working as a masseur. I did my trainer's course and did some training in those days. And then I was fortunate enough to become the national coach of the South African team. Those are the years when I got to know Shane Bannon and the fantastic job that he was doing at that time with the Australian national team. And since then, I just became sports director. Did that for 10 years with Lamprey until 2009. And then I took 4 years off where I worked for MotoGP, which was a fantastic experience working with Yamaha Factory Racing for 4 years. And then I was invited back to the Pro Peloton in cycling with MTN, where we started the first South African professional team in Europe. After that, I was asked by the Prince of Bahrain to help start the Bahrain team in 2017. And then I got a very pleasant phone call from Jerry Ryan asking me to come out and be general manager for this team, which I'm working for now. And it's been an absolute pleasure and enjoying it tremendously.
It must be a big transfer from being a sports director into the management side of a team. And obviously the last couple of years have been really difficult, not just in sport, but for most people in life. How have you found those last couple of years in particular?
Yeah, I think in one way I'm fortunate, Dan, because I was able to do quite a few roles before I actually became general manager. So I can say firsthand what it was like being a masseur, what it was like being a sports director, and now being general manager. When I communicate with those people, I can say firsthand what it was like. But it has changed a lot the last few years, especially cycling has changed. It's boomed. There's a lot of changes within the teams. But you have to stay on top of it, and you have to see those changes, and you have to work with those changes. And I think we're doing a great job with that.
Now, it's we were talking earlier. It's an interesting part of the year because rider transfer markets obviously are starting to build up. There was talk we were talking earlier that Van Baal's looking to leave Ineos. How do you go about those sort of things in terms of the structure for the lineup next year? Obviously, you got Simon Yates, who's your GC sort of focus. You got Groenewegen, you got Bling. How do you go through that process of sort of working out who you're going to go for, and then how do you sort of start the process of trying to get them on board? Because if it was me, I'd just go up to Carapaz and say, mate, there's a brown bag in the back of your team car. Maybe have a look at that, and there's all the info you need. Get in touch.
That would be simpler, yeah. Unfortunately, it's become a lot more complicated than that. But Yeah, I think with agents that have got involved in the last 10, 15 years with cycling, has definitely changed. The way we go about that, though, is we've created a group within the team. It's a group that includes a lot of the management of the team. So we have obviously Whitey, who gives all his input as far as sports side is concerned, which is a very important part of the team. And then I'll report back to Jerry, and we'll put our thoughts together, and we look at what we can build for the future of the team, whether that's the classic section, the GC riders, or the sprinters group. And once we take a decision on that, then we go after the riders that we're looking at and that we think will work best for the team. But there's a lot of thought process that goes into that decision. You know, we have to look at the character of the riders. We have to look at the characteristics of the riders. Will they fit in the team? Will they suit this kind of a culture of team? Will they get on with the Australian culture that the team's been built around over the last 10 years? So there's a lot of factors that we take into account before bringing on a rider. And would be nice if it was such a simple process, but it isn't. And that's a big part of my job. And I'm in continuous communication with Jerry and with Whitey to make sure that we put the best roster together for the future of the team, which is obviously important.
Is the last couple of years in particular, the emergence of these young riders and being so good so quick, is that help things, or is it make things more complicated? Because gone are the days where it sort of feels like, you know, you get that rider that's hitting his straps in his late 20s, early 30s, wanting the big dollars, whereas you can actually go, no, I'll go for a younger rider that will probably develop quicker. But at the same time, other teams are looking at data and paying them €600,000 a year on what they've looked at data. So it's sort of everyone's onto it now.
Yep, very true, very true. And I mean, to give a direct answer to your question, I would say it's made things more confusing for us. We've seen this year already, we've had, if I'm not mistaken, 3 19-year-olds that have won important races. And you're right, a lot of people do look at the data and say, oh, this rider's got incredible numbers. Let's bring him on board and throw a lot of money at him, which has made our jobs really difficult, because that's not the way it's been done traditionally. That's not the way that we've done things in the past. But the truth of the matter is the youngsters of today are becoming, I don't want to use the word more professional, but by the time they get to the age of 20, they've gone through those 3 or 4 years of the learning years that a normal professional would have done in the past. So the 3 or 4 years that you would have had to use to become a real professional in the past is done in your junior and your under 23 years. So by the time you're 19, 20, you've already got to that level of professionalism. And that's what we've seen, especially in the last 2 years. That's changed a lot. So the under 23 teams, the junior teams, are really putting a lot of resources, a lot of investment into their riders at that age. So by the time they get to turn professional, they don't have to go through those 3 years of the learning process, which is the traditional way of turning professional.
Well, it's not much
exactly
different.
right. I mean,
It's not much different to your area, Iffy. I was going to say it's not much different to your area. If you were super professional at 19, 20 back in the day.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Yeah. Okay. I was Australian road champion at 20, mate. Yeah. And went to Common Games as a youngster like that. Got a medal. So
that was my point.
Then I
was being serious.
Fell off the rails. You were being a smart ass, but that's okay. I can live with that, Dan. Yeah.
I think we might have internet problems with Brent, or he's really thinking about that comment about you being professional at 19, 20.
I'm back now. You got me?
Are you? Yeah. Well, we can hear you, but you're still frozen in the photo.
Okay.
It'll come good. It'll click in.
You tell me when. Yeah.
Mate, what we'll do is I'll drop you out of the studio. If you click the link again, it should refresh. So we're
Okay.
not immune to internet issues on this show. So Brent will come back for a quick wrap up. But yeah, I mean, interesting insights there because it is a tough job. You know, when you're a GM of a cycling team, particularly in the current climate, you know, you've got all these different factors. And also, like, remember the old days where teams would go where you can have pretty much 30 riders is a really good list on a team. But with the current, you know, illnesses, COVID, the amount of teams that are sort of scrambling just to fill squads, I mean, that's another added layer of stress.
They can't have any more than 30,
you're back.
So that's been the issue. He's spinning with it. Oh, you're it.
We were just saying then, Brent, that, you know, remember with the list of 30 riders on a squad, remember the days where you go, we could probably get away with 27 or whatever. But in the current climate, there's so many late withdrawals, illnesses, COVID, that you really need a list of 30 or at least as close as you can get.
Yeah, you do. This year in particular has been a challenging year for us, not only with COVID, but we've had some injured riders, which is normal. Every year we have that kind of issue. But there's been a tremendous amount of riders who have had illnesses not COVID related, you know, gastro,
exactly.
flu, normal, and much higher percentage this year than in the past. And we've discussed it with the medical staff. We've tried to understand what the problem could be, and medical staff seem to think that a lot of riders this year have not had their flu vaccination because so many of them have had the COVID vaccination. They all thought, well, too many vaccinations not going to be good for me. I'm not going to take the flu vaccination. And there's been a much higher percentage of riders that have got sick.
Yeah.
That, as well as using the masks. You know, the masks and the use of the masks has definitely lowered our immune systems to a certain effect. So as soon as there is a virus or a flu virus going around, which is not COVID related, the riders pick it up because they're so lean and they're so much on the limit. If there is a virus going around, they do tend to pick it up. And we felt that this year. And that's definitely affected a lot of teams of putting a good roster together in order to get to all the races. You know, we saw Israel who had to pull out of the Tour of Flanders. I mean, in the past, when you would ever think of a team pulling out of the Tour of Flanders? But that's been happening. So for sure, Whitey and his group are always on our backs asking to get more riders on board so we can get the roster more covered. But we do our best to put the best team together at every race we go to.
Now, quickly, I just want to ask you a couple of quick things because Dan's got to go. He's got kids' duties and all of those things. But just back onto this Giro, it's been, you know, a challenge already with Simon falling and hurting his knee. Obviously, has come better each day. So he looks really good today. I spoke to him fleetingly before. What are your expectations over this next week?
Well, I think, you know, the main thing for us is obviously look after Simon. Simon's in a good place at the moment. He did have that unfortunate accident 2 days ago. The swelling of the knee after the bad bump has come down a lot. And for us, the main priority is to look after him, make sure he doesn't lose time, make sure he doesn't lose energy to stay up where he needs to stay up. But these stages are tricky stages. They referred to as transfer stages to get to the next mountain block, which is Blockhouse. But tomorrow and Saturday on paper look fairly simple, but they are definitely not simple stages. So the main priority for us is to look after Simon and make sure he doesn't lose time and keeps healthy, at least until we get to the Blockhouse stage on Sunday.
Good stuff. We've got a couple of
great to have you on,
comments.
Brent, you're a start. Yep.
Tip could be nibbly for tomorrow or today. What do you think?
Today for you? I think he's a perfect stage for him. Big stage for him tomorrow. Yeah.
And Andrew Blackmore says,
I think a break will win tomorrow.
Andrew Blackmore says, if Cav rides after stage 11, does that mean Cav isn't riding Tour de France? Caleb knows he is riding Tour. Why don't Quickstep give Cav the same respect?
Well, that's an interesting one because Cav, I don't think we'll be riding the Tour. If I owned the team, I'd put him in. I'd put them both in. You haven't got a GC rider. It'll be huge publicity. But I see Fabio Jacobson won in Turkey today. And I was going to ask you that. I know, sorry, in Hungary. Turkey, Hungary. I mix them up all the
Same
time.
thing. Yeah, you're right.
Come from Hungary. Yeah. I was hungry. I ate the turkey. And Dylan, they had some issues yesterday. Dylan Groenewegen, the train, the roundabout went the wrong side. As it turned out, was further around. Today, he was in the right position, but got caught in that crash in the last in the last 2K. What I suppose you got all the news there, Brent.
Yeah, he unfortunately came down with 500 meters to go. He's lost a bit of skin, but the biggest worry for us was his left wrist. He came over the finish line saying that he felt he had fractured his left wrist, which after the medical staff did a checkup, there was fortunately no fracture there. So we can communicate that there's no big problem there, which is important for us, looking forward to the Tour de France. We're just not getting that train right for Dylan. He's an incredible sprinter, probably the fastest man in the world as far as numbers are concerned. But with him only joining the team this year, it's taken us a little bit longer than we expected to get that train working. But we believe we'll have it right for the Tour de France. And the guys are working really hard to make sure it's working by the time the Tour de France comes around.
Great stuff, mate. Well, we really appreciate you being on the detour. Enjoy your time at the Giro, and we'll check in again soon, mate. And hopefully Yatesy and the team can keep him in good position.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, mate. I really appreciate you coming on, Brent. And I will like you even more if I can come back into the bubble after tomorrow.
Hey, you got to be 100%, mate.
Be 100%, but you're more than welcome.
Good stuff, mate. Thanks,
we love having John with us.
Good on you, mate. Take it easy. Brent Copeland, GM there. Now, before we go, remember, like, share, subscribe, youtube.com/the Detour podcast. And we're going to be live 6:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, Saturday till Monday this week to help with my logistics. So get up nice and early, get the pot of coffee on. Yeah, well, I'm juggling a million balls at the moment, as you know, John.
I know, mate. I know.
Just hanging in there.
Complaining. You're doing well.
Good.
You're doing well.
No worries. Well, you rest up too, Iffy. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you again tomorrow at 6:30. Cheers.
This is the winning ride of